Idea. In this tutorial, we're going to be learning how to consume an API using Getx. So basically, we're going to write in a Getx controller. We're going to also write a model, and we're going to also render out our data to our views. So basically, this is what we're going to be rendering out, and we are using the JSON placeholder endpoint here. First thing we need to do is make sure we clear all these boilerplates that comes with Flutter when you create a project. Now let's go ahead and create a folder. So I like creating the folder MVC model view controller when I'm using Getx. In the views folder, let's go ahead and create a new file called home.dat. Inside of the home.dat, we're going to create a stateful widget. Then inside a scaffold here, let's go ahead and place in an app bar. Then go to the main.dat where we have my home page here. Let's go ahead and import home page. Now we can go ahead and run our project on our emulator. Alright, good. Our project is working on. So let's go ahead to the controller folder and create a new file called postcontroller.dat. Before we continue, we have to install Getx package and HTTP package. Alright, so you can go ahead and do Ctrl+Shift+P, select that dependency, add that dependency, then you can go ahead and do get the HTTP. Click enter. After that has been installed already, we can go ahead and import get. And after importing get, we are going to create a controller that extends the Getx controller. Inside our controller now, let's go ahead and create a function. Then inside the function now, we are going to pass in our try and catch block. Now let's go ahead and pass in our endpoint. Our endpoint is JSON placeholder, so this is a dummy API for us to work with. Now go ahead and import our HTTP package. So now we imported it as HTTP. Now let's go ahead and add our code that is going to send the GET request to our API. Alright, so we created a final HTTP response variable. Then we did await HTTP GET URL. So our URL is actually this thing that we passed there. So our URL is our endpoint. Now we're going to construct if our response was actually sent. Alright, so now we did if our request is actually sent. I want to construct our state equals is 200 because 200 actually means okay. So this is like saying if our request to the server is okay. Alright, so if it is sent already, if it is 200, we want to print out the JSON decode response body. And through the process of using JSON, we have to import something called that convert. So this, if we don't have that, this will not work. So we do JSON decode print, which is response of body, and also for if there's any error, we also want to get the response of body too. Alright, what we have to do one thing, which is when we call our controller in our view file, we want it to know fetch the data automatically like when the page loads. So to do that, we have to use the Getx on init method, which is basically like using the FLUTTER init state. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. So inside the on init here, we passed get up post, and which is this future function that we have in this place. Now to see if our controller is working, we have to add our controller to our views. So let's go ahead and do final post controller. Then we can go ahead and do get put post controller. So basically the get put is actually a dependency injection. So we are like injecting the controller itself into the views, and through that process we have to make sure that we import post controller, which is there, and also we have to import the Getx package, which is actually here too. So once that is done, we can go ahead and restart our project. Good. After restarting, there are a few things you'll notice here. We have this instance of post controller has been created and also has been initialized, basically telling us our controller is working. Then after then you see what we did, our response to JSON is now being rendered out. Basically these are the same thing we have when we look at this post here, as you can see. Now let's work on rendering out our API. So first we want to do, let's first add the title to this text, and we can call it Getx API. Then in our body we could do column. All right, so column will have a children. Then inside the children, we can go ahead and do list style. For the list style, we can go ahead and do title, which is also a text. I can say first. Then we need subtitle, which is also a text. I can do second here. So basically, this is what we are going to be rendering out. We're going to be rendering out this list style in this place. Now, but instead of rendering out this dummy data, we're going to be passing the data that we get from our API inside of it. All right, so save this, and we should have this in the screen. Good. So now let's go ahead and wrap this up with a OBX. So OBX is a way we can use to interact with our controller using the widget. So basically, we can go ahead and click on this place. Initially, there used to be wrap with OBX, but it is not available again. So we can go ahead and do wrap with stream builder. So we are just going to delete everything here, then also delete everything here, and instead we'll call this OBX, and also delete this. Okay, good. Okay, good. You see that we have this error. So basically, we'll get back to that error now later. What we want to do is head over to Chrome where we have this, so we can copy this. All right, then we have to go to this website called app.quicktype.io. So basically, this allows us to convert our API response to that model. So you can see, so we are going to just paste that in there, and we can call this let's call this post model. So it's going to do that. Then go ahead and just click copy. Before you do that, make sure you have that selected in this place. Then go ahead and do copy. Now let's go ahead and create a new file called in the models called post model. Then inside of it, go ahead and paste to what you copied. Okay, so basically we have some fields in this place. So what you can do is just go ahead and add question mark to them, so to make them non-able. Right, so the next we're going to do is going to create a RX list. So basically you can go ahead and create a list like this. So you are saying, okay, this list is has OBS in it, which is observable. So basically, if any changes to appear to you, you'll be able to render and display it. But there's other ways to do that. So we can also use the RX method. So basically, I prefer using this RX method because we are specifying that, okay, we want this to be a list of post model. All right, so I think we're just going to use the first one, then we can go ahead and delete this one here. Now let's go ahead and look through our posts. Then we are going to add it to our post list here. All right, so what I did here was creating a final context here, and we say just the code the body, so the response body here. Now we create a variable called item. Then we are using it to loop through the what context here. So once everything has been loaded through, we want to go ahead and add the content that we have here, the item in this place here, you can see. So we're going to add it to the post model, which is from JSON. So we should go ahead and check this from JSON. From JSON is just accepting the user ID, JSON user ID, the ID, title, and the body. All right, good. All right, back to the home data. I'm going to put in this piece of code here. All right, so you can see we have the piece of code. Basically, we are saying we are selecting the post controller that we have here, then selecting the post, then the value of it. You know, it is a list. Then I say if it is non-null. All right, okay, we are going to make this if it is null actually. So if it is null, we are going to return a text that says empty. Else, we just want to render this out. So we should save this, and we go back to our emulator. The error has been disappeared already, so you should like restart it or auto restart. Sorry. So just go ahead and auto restart this. Okay, good. So we have that. Basically, that is telling us that it is non-null. So now for this list style, I'm just going to paste in the code here. So basically, this code is you are using a list view builder, or we set it the shrink wrap to true. Basically, if you don't set a shrink wrap to true, the list is not going to be displayed. Then we set item count. We're selecting the post controller post list value. Then we are selecting the length of it. Then we say item builder context index. So we say return list style. So we are returning this list style now, the basic list that we have before. So we should go ahead and save this. Okay, you see we have a list of this, and now you see this yellow thing. The reason we are having this yellow thing is because basically we can go ahead and wrap our body here, the column there. We can go ahead and wrap it with a single child scroll view. Okay, save that. So that will allow us to be able to scroll because we have plenty data in it. All right, so we are not still scrolling. you have to go to the list view here. You have to do physics. So I like using the bouncing scroll physics. Save that, and yeah, we should be able to scroll now. Good. All right, good. So now we want to render out what we will get from the API. So to do that, we can just go ahead and slap in this code. All right, so basically we are selecting the post controller, then the post, then we are selecting the value. So we are getting the value from the list within an index. So which is index is because this item reader is like saying for loop, is like saying for I in, kind of for loop or for each loop. All right, so we are index, selecting the index, we are selecting the title inside of it. So also we are selecting the body. So we should go ahead and save this. Now we see we have all the data from the database in this place. All right, good. So there's one last thing we need to do to make it interesting. So we want to create a loading state using Getx. So basically we're going to just do parallel is loading force.obs. So inside this place here, we're going to go ahead and select it. It's loading. Then always remember that every obs we have a value inside of it, so we can set this value to be true. All right, so once that value is true, so because it is loading, we have fetched the data true. So once it is done, we can make this false. So we'll go ahead and set this to false, and we can also set this to false in this place also. All right, now head over back to the owner.dat. Then we're going to slap in a code in this place. All right, so basically what this code is doing is we are selecting post controller, then inside of the post controller we're selecting the is loading observer in this place. Then we are picking the value. So the value of our is loading is going to be either true or false. So initially we are saying if it is true, we want it to be what, to have a loading, a circle progress indicator. Then if it is now false, we want to list out our data that we have here. So we should save this now, and we should check it out. Then we can go ahead and do auto load. All right, look at this screen. We have this loading. Then once it is false now, it's going to list out our product. Good. All right, so basically we've consumed an API using Getx. If you like this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and if you want more of this video, I'm going to do more of it. See you next time. Peace.